Hey, Vaughn.
How are you, Kim?
Hey, Vaughn. So here we are, but first football, and we are now 6 days out from season opener, which is just to me now going to be even more hilarious than it originally was. And like I really don't even want to like get this topic any more than it already has. But the thing is, the first game of the season is in fact Dallas and Detroit, or not Detroit, and Philadelphia. Dallas at Philadelphia. And now, after Jerry Jones and his brilliant move of sending Micah Parsons away, they're going to get shredded. It's going to be a horrible, boring game, I bet.
The only thing I'll say is you just never know. Early season, look, not that the Eagles aren't capable of doing it. I'm sure they are, but you're still working the kinks out, right? You're playing a full game, getting up to speed, so anything can happen. But yeah, it probably doesn't help their chances, right? And they got a big haul back, which is the good news. But you don't see the dividends on that for years to come. I mean, Kenny Clark is obviously a high quality defensive tackle, but those two picks, if they pan out at all, it won't be for years.
But don't you think, I mean, and maybe I'm wrong about this, and you would certainly know more than I, but isn't there going to be like a morale issue with the team? It just seems like this was such a debacle, and the things that Jerry Jones said and the way he's kind of handled the whole thing, it feels like it could be a morale buster for the team.
I think it can, especially if the guy's a well-liked guy. I mean, ultimately, you look at them and like, hey, you got to be professionals. And, my job is on the line every time I go out there. My safety and health is on the line every time I suit up. So I got to perform at my best. But, I mean, they're human beings too. And so I'm not, from the, I haven't just been reading everything on the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm not exactly sure how he was being perceived or received in the locker room, but if he's a well-liked guy, it certainly can, affect morale because they're human. Despite them, you want them to be professionals and get excited because it's the first game of the year. You hope all that's true, but there's possibility it could have an effect on how they play.
Yeah, well, I guess, I mean, it's really probably not even worth talking about anymore because it's been all anybody's talking about. Like, Adam Schefter had an emergency podcast yesterday about this. And I'm like, okay. Right. I don't think it's
I that. Well, no, but you know why it is? Because it's definitely one of the best players in the league. He's demonstrated that over the last 4 years. The most popular team in the league, and it's not often you get a blockbuster trade at all, but especially a week before the season, right? So I'm sure Adam Schefter's little mind was just blown.
Well, and I mean, it's not interconference, but it's not interdivision, but it's interconference. So I mean, in fact, I believe Dallas plays Green Bay on Thanksgiving.
I think it's the fourth game of the year, yeah. So,
or they play them, yeah. So it's it could be very interesting. I guess it could be interesting, and then it could be just a total like overblown blah blah blah. Just the usual cowboy.
But you remember last week we said how personal things had gotten, and that was kind of a bit strange in that even if it was personal, but it was personal. But everything the Cowboys do is out in the pub, right? Obviously you think of the Patriots keeping everything inside the building is as much as they can, and it just got ugly and got personal. And so I thought he was going to do like he did with everyone else. He signed CeeDee Lamb. He ended up signing Dak, and I thought that was going to happen here, but I guess they just had some things they couldn't get over. So.
I still think we talked last week about, is he using this as a publicity stunt to promote his documentary? And I think that's true. I'm sorry. I think that he is just if he can't win, he's going to get publicity whatever way he can. And it's exhausting and kind of boring. But yet here we are. We're talking about him because it is the biggest NFL news all preseason, honestly. It's such a, blockbuster and shocker and crazy.
Can't say no, because if you think about those Super Bowl teams, the one thorn in his side about winning 3 Super Bowls in 4 years is that Jimmy Johnson got a lot of the credit for that, and he as the architect didn't get enough of the credit. So maybe this is some odd play to, but he's the decision maker personnel wise, right? He's the GM, and so he buys the groceries, and so whatever happens, it's on his watch, and so he'll get the credit. Yeah. Whether that's, to this point, it's been that they haven't been, to a conference championship in 30 years, but so he definitely gets the credit for that. But we'll see.
Well, that's kind of
it's gonna be a while longer now.
Yeah, it for sure will. It's kind of like the argument of, who is responsible for the Patriots' success, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? And, so we'll see how Mr. Belichick does in college. I was reading an article about just the investment that UNC has made and the ticket sales and everything. Like, it's crazy. I hope it goes well for him. I don't know. Can you imagine Bill Belichick snoozing with the boosters? What is he going to do?
I think Bill will do whatever he needs to do. And college football, more so than the NFL. The NFL is all about parity. The college football is about showing up. We have a physical advantage when we get off the bus because our players are better than yours. So if he's able to make that connection with those 18-year-old kids, get them to go to his school, then they can be successful and be a powerhouse, right? And he's got the thing. Hey, look, I know what it takes. I've won 6 Super Bowls. I've been to 9 or 10. I know what it takes. Actually, he's won 7 because he got at least 1 with the Giants. So, hey, I know what it takes to win. I can get you to the next level. And I'm sure that's a lot of what they're selling it. And I think they've kind of built their program more as a pro style in terms of how they operate, and like they have basically a general manager, and they've kind of renamed some of the positions, and I think that's kind of what they're selling to these young guys who, if you're a high school player, might not be the forefront, but in the back of your mind, it's like, hey, maybe I do have a chance to go to the NFL. So if you can do that and get enough of those types of kids to go to the UNC, then yeah, they can compete. It's all about the players, and not more about the players than in the pros. Put it that way.
It should be about the players, but of course, he and his little girlfriend have they've tried to, is it copyright or patent the phrase "gold digger"? What the hell?
Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to be like doing jewelry. I'm sorry. That's just nutty. But so speaking of college football, I just wanted to share a little. I remember I was texting you guys last week with this kid who's been coming to the recovery room, like really embracing his recovery. He had a hell of a game last night. So USF played Boise State here in Tampa. And, I don't usually watch USF because, I'm FSU or Miami. But I watched it because he's such a nice kid. And when he was in on Tuesday, he's like, "Are you coming to the game?" Well, he didn't say like, "Are you coming to the game?" He didn't say it in a little kid voice, but he was cute because he was like, "Are you going to come to the game?" I'm like, "Oh, honey, no, it's too hot. I can't go sit out there at 5:30 p.m. in August and I'll die." But anyway, I watched it and they won 34. It was either 31 or 34-7. Boise State is ranked. USF is not. They really owned that game. The defense was on, but Keyshawn had 5 catches for 93 yards. And probably the most exciting one was a fake punt. They brought out this third string true freshman quarterback. He's little, he looks like a punter, so nobody was paying attention. That kid threw a dime. Keshawn caught it and scored. So it was pretty cool. So I'm just going to go on record again and say that recovery matters. And at the same time, I can't believe USF doesn't have red light therapy, but I'm okay with it because I like seeing him. I like the guy. So he had a great game. It was pretty exciting.
Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah. So, but you know what? I just get so annoyed, and just to go on a Tampa rant for just a moment. All of the announcers, they're so prejudiced against Tampa. It's so pathetic. Whoever was in the booth last night was a whiny baby about the heat and the temperature. Well, dude, did you not look at your schedule? Because this is what it is, right? You're coming to Tampa in August. So he's complaining about the weather, and like they kept kind of like bashing USF program. And granted, it has not been the best, but they just beat Boise State. So shut up and be nice about Tampa and go Bucks. And that's my Tampa rant. So done. What excites you most about this week or 53-man rosters? Was there anything that like really got you feeling good or feeling bad?
Oh, you know what? I looked at a couple of the list of like kind of the surprising cuts, and the one name that really stood out was Kyle Trask, just because obviously, we had talked about him for a few times, and but I was surprised at how few of the names I was really aware of. Like these were supposed to be surprise cuts, and I was just like, I'm not recognizing a lot of these names.
Yeah, nothing
right?
felt like super shocking.
Yeah, not to me anyway. So
no, not to me either.
I'm excited to see the Thursday game. Obviously, the Super Bowl champs kick off the season every year, and I just want to see, like, because there's always going to be, you're going to lose some players, and last year, like, do they start hot? Dallas division rival, so that's a win plus, right? The conference win was a win plus, right? Because you get those tiebreaker games. You want to win them all if you can, but the tiebreaker games in particular. And so, division opponent starting off, like, it really, really matters. Don't necessarily care for each other, and so I think it should. I definitely thought it was going to be a good game. You don't see Dak, like, what's Dak going to do? And he's got a lot of contract and eating up so much of their salary before next year. But that being said, you committed to him, and like, look, Dak he's definitely who he is. Like, can he get them over the hump, right? You're not like it's unfortunately. So this is all like salary cap stuff, but going back to Tom Brady, like Tom Brady, the NFLPA didn't necessarily want him taking those discounts he would take, because they want the players to get every player to get as much money to keep driving everything up, right? But he understood that if I'm eating up so much of the salary, which limits my ability to win, right?
Right.
So he had a very famous rich wife.
Yeah. Well, he brought in Antonio Brown. Remember, he wanted Antonio Brown here, who, he went crazy, but but he was good. You got to question, how much does Dak want to win, if he's not willing to do a little bit of that. But he's got a great receiver in CeeDee Lamb, but just, did you see that one preseason game where CeeDee Lamb got taken out by the official? The official was running down the sideline, and CeeDee Lamb was too close to the sideline. He was in total street clothes, and he got taken out. He went completely down, flat on his back. It was actually funny. But then they got like a penalty because CeeDee Lamb wasn't supposed to be like that close to the field or whatever it was. But it was kind of funny.
Happens very fast.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell. Yeah, so in terms of the cuts, I didn't see anything huge, and I didn't see anything that was like really a big surprise. I guess we didn't talk about what happened here with Shiloh and that punch he threw, and basically therefore did not make the team. But it doesn't look like he's going to get picked up by anyone. So the Sanders boys, we got a third string. Shedeur will be third string, and Shiloh's out of the NFL. So that experiment doesn't seem to be working too well.
Well, you never know. Like, I'm sure he'll be brought in for workouts. And I know that's the story that's being said, but basically he didn't do enough to overcome the punch, right?
Right.
In their eyes, right? Had he had a stellar training camp, would have kept him from making the team.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just that one thing. So look, I'm sure he'll get another opportunity, even if he does end up not playing this year. If he stays in shape, I'm sure he'll get calls next year. Like, his dad has the ability to say just get a look. And look, I have no problem. I've never really had. Life is about who you know. Often, it really is. It's just
in any business.
So people, and it's not that he can hit a roster, but he can at least get a look, a building, and then it's on the team. The Shedeur situation is, he's just got to pay attention. He's got a veteran in front of him and learn as much as he can. And I know he's kind of as third-year quarterbacks go, he's kind of high profile. He's got a Gator and still has NIL deals that are paying him, and so I've paid attention to Cleveland just because we're not getting much Cleveland information out here, but everything I heard is that he's a hard worker. So that's the thing. You can, and it's not always you want to work smart as well, but he puts in the work, and so we'll see what happens. He looked talented to me, just looking at him last year, in game situation, he didn't have a great line to protect him. So I think he's got a chance. He's got a shot.
I think so. So let's talk about who we think's going to be in the big game by the end of the season. I think I'll start with my AFC thoughts, just because, AFC's different. I would love to see Baltimore. I would love to see them. I worry a little bit about them because of the seemingly inability to win that big game in the playoffs. But I'm going to pick a sleeper. And it pains me very much to do this. But I'm going to go with Denver. I think Denver is going to make it. I think Denver's going to be in the Super Bowl. I'm just saying. That's my AFC pick.
And so I don't think it's Baltimore. I don't think it's Buffalo. I just think, like I think I mentioned before, he's got that huge new contract. He's got a pretty new wife. I think he regresses a little bit, just human nature. So I don't think it's the Bills. I'm also a sleeper in the AFC and bit of a homer. Also the AFC West, but I'll go Chargers. I just think excellent returning defense. They were excellent defensively last year. Build on that. They can run the football. It's Jim Harbaugh, so they're going to run and be tough, hard-nosed, be good, able to go into the Northeast in late December, early January, and put a game together. And I think just this second year, I think we'll see a pop with Herbert. He's an excellent quarterback who, I think has been underutilized, not last year, but just, he just never got the opportunity to shine. I think he's a top flight quarterback. I don't like him as much as I like, how much I like Joe Burrow as a quarterback, but I think he's right there. And so I don't want to go chalk, with Buffalo or Baltimore. So I'm going to go the Chargers in the AFC.
So we are both going to AFC West, which is interesting. Yep. So no Cincinnati, no Kansas City. Interesting. I mean, not that I thought you would take Kansas City. I didn't think you would, but I thought maybe you might consider Cincinnati. And then another could be interesting, but I don't think they'll get there, is Houston. I do think that Houston has a lot of potential to have a really good run into the playoffs, but I don't think they will be the representative in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think he'll be in the mix. They've got talent everywhere on that team. Good young talent, right?
Yeah.
At the quarterback spot, Will Anderson is, future Hall of Famer, looks like. Playing rush end linebacker. So, I think Houston will have their word in who ultimately ends up in
the popular.
I'm just saying, I tried very hard to pick Cincinnati, but I was just like,
I think I toyed with the Chargers as well. And that Denver I am not a fan, but I feel like there is something happening there, and I can't quite avoid that. So, NFC, I know this will shock you.
Chargers are really good, or there's really good. I think I could still see the Chiefs winning the division. The fact that both of them are really on the rise right now, I think it's going to be enough where the Chiefs take a step back.
I agree. I think the Chiefs are going to take a step back for many reasons, but yeah. Okay, so NFC, you know where I'm going. I'm in Bucks all the way. They're gonna do it, and it's gonna surprise a lot of people, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So I'm all about the Bucks. I think the NFC Championship game could be the Bucks and Green Bay. I think Detroit is going to regress a little bit with the loss of their two coordinators. I like a lot of things about Detroit, but I don't see them without their two coordinators. I mean, I think there's going to be a little bit of a dip there. And I've always loved the Bears. They're one of my favorite teams. There's something about Ben Johnson that I don't love. I'm sorry, that sounds rude, but he seems to be a little bit of a prima donna, and it doesn't sound like he's really embracing Caleb, and that's a problem because I believe Caleb is their franchise quarterback. So anyway, I'm going Bucks. I know that's a shocker, but I believe it wholeheartedly.
I think it's terribly dangerous for an artist to fulfill other people's expectations.
My pick will tell you that I don't necessarily agree with you, but I'm trying to think how far off I think you are from that. I see them as definitely being a playoff team, wildcard weekend, divisional round, but I don't, and that's to say basically that I think Philly repeats, because I think they did a good job of replacing what they lost, and a lot of what they lost, like they made trades, traded some backups. And so I think they just were trying to rebalance their roster. Again, everyone needs to be lucky with health across the, whoever you are making it to the Super Bowl, you got to be lucky with health at those key positions. But I think if they stay healthy, I just see them building off of last year, which is why I'm so interested in this first game. You've got, there's no other show in town on Thursday night. Everyone's not on the off season. And do you come out and just press the gas like you came off the season last year, or do you take a stumble? So that'll tell us a lot about kind of where their head is at, and that's the other thing too. Once you win, are you the fat cats? All these, everyone's getting new contracts and we're the champions, but you aren't the champions of the 25-26 season. Like, everyone's got the same opportunity you have, and so you have to go out there and get it again. And so that's why I'm really interested in that Thursday night game.
All right, I can accept that, but here's what I'm thinking about my picks. It's the creamsicles versus the orange crush. It's like an orange Super Bowl, orange theme. It could be a lot of fun.
In food-wise, you could do a lot worse than a creamsicle and an orange crush, right?
Yes, you could. So we go on record with these picks, but we do, of course, reserve the right to make any sort of mid-season change. And then, of course, once we get there, we'll have to. But I'm feeling good, feeling confident.
Well, I gotta tell you, your boy Baker has outperformed my expectations. He was a solid quarterback for them last year, right? And so which is awesome. Like I said, that's awesome. NFL redefining your career and how people think about you when they hear your name.
Yeah.
He took the horns and he just did that. And like you said, you told me he's a beloved character on that team, and
so much so.
And so. Yeah, and so that's awesome. Good.
Well, the other one who I feel is like that is Sam Darnold. I mean, of course, we'll see what happens with him in Seattle. But it is always nice to see. I kind of hope it happens for Justin Fields in New York. I mean, but I don't think either Justin or Sam Darnold have the kind of supporting cast that Baker has. I mean, this offense that we have here is damn good. So Baker has that, but he's also done it himself. I mean, he was a kind of a cocky guy when he won the Heisman and got to Cleveland, and didn't necessarily back it up. But in fairness, of course, Cleveland does nothing to support their quarterbacks, as we know. So he's just ended up in the right place. Great. I love it.
Well, fit matters, right?
Yep, for sure.
Fit matters in the NFL. Fit matters in life. Fit matters with your shoes. Fit matters. And so you get to a place where you're appreciated, you feel supported, and that's the energy of being someplace where you feel like, hey, they want me here. I'll give my best, and how can I? And that's the thing. Sometimes you got to get humbled a little bit to, I'm sure I've had success doing it my way. And that's the thing about the NFL. It humbles everyone at some point. Reggie White got humbled on some play. And he had to get back up, dust himself off, and say, no, I'm still headed to the Hall of Fame, right? That's got to be the mentality, right? Can't let this stumble stop me.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see what happens, and I can't wait to talk to you after the first game.
Big weekend next week.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I think that does it for us this week, but first football, and I know everybody who's a football fan is super excited. It's always, as Vaughn says, the parity in the NFL is what makes it such a great thing. Every single team feels at the beginning of the season like they have a shot, and I love that about football. I love that for us. So, all right, Vaughn, keep gas in your tank, buddy, and I will catch you next week. Peace.
All right, sounds good. See you. Bye.
Bye.